When you were a kid, a single summer felt endless. One school year stretched out like a lifetime. Now, you blink and it's December again. A whole year gone, like it lasted a couple of weeks. You're not imagining it, and you're not just busy. Time really is speeding up as you get older, measurably, predictably, and the reason why is hiding in how your brain records your entire life. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why the years are accelerating, and you'll know the strange trick to slow them back down. Let's start with the oldest explanation, because it's almost embarrassingly simple. Back in 1897, a French philosopher named Paul Janet noticed something. The length of a year isn't fixed in your mind. It's measured against the life you've already lived. When you're 5 years old, 1 year is a full 20% of your entire existence. It's enormous. Of course, a summer feels endless. It's a huge slice of everything you've ever known. But when you're 50, that same year is just 2% of your life. The same 365 days, weighed against a much bigger pile of them. So it feels 10 times lighter, 10 times faster. William James, one of the founders of modern psychology, wrote about this all the way back in 1890. He said the same stretch of time simply seems shorter as we grow older, and every year makes it shorter still. This is sometimes called proportional theory, or log time, and the math is brutal. By this logic, the years from 5 to 10 feel about as long as the years from 40 to 80. Half your subjectively experienced life is over before you finish high school. It's a clean, tidy idea, and it's real. But it can't be the whole story, because it treats every year as identical, just a fraction. And your years are not identical. Some of them you remember in vivid detail. Others have vanished completely. So the real question isn't just how big a year is. It's how much of it your brain actually bothered to keep. Here's the thing nobody tells you. You don't experience time. You remember it. When you look back and ask where did that year go, you're not measuring the year. You're measuring the memories it left behind. And your brain is astonishingly stingy about which moments it keeps. The rule is simple. Your brain records novelty in high definition, and everything else as a faint smudge. The first time you did anything, your first day at a new school, your first kiss, your first time driving alone, the first time you saw the ocean, your brain captured it in rich, dense detail, because it didn't know what was coming and it needed the data. But the 400th time you drove the same route to work? Your brain already knows this. It doesn't waste ink. It records almost nothing. Now think about being a child. Everything is new. Every single day is packed with first times, novel faces, unfamiliar rules, experiences your brain has never filed before. A childhood summer feels endless in memory because it was recorded in enormous detail, thousands of little moments all stored in high definition. Now think about a typical adult year. Wake up, commute, work, sleep, repeat. To your brain, most of those days are near identical copies. And your brain doesn't store copies. It compresses them into one blurry loop. A year of routine can collapse into almost nothing, which is exactly why it feels like it lasted a few weeks. This is also why, if you're over 30, a strange thing happens when you look back on your life. Your teens and 20s feel disproportionately huge, vivid, detailed, cinematic, while whole decades of adulthood blur together. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it the reminiscence bump. When people are asked to recall the most vivid memories of their lives, they don't spread out evenly. They cluster overwhelmingly between the ages of roughly 15 and 30. Why? Because that's when you did most things for the first time. First love, first heartbreak, leaving home, first job, becoming who you are. After that, the first times slow down, and so does the rate at which your life leaves a mark. Now you might be forming a counterexample right now. What about a great holiday? It's packed with new things, but it seems to fly by. So doesn't novelty make time feel faster? This is the trap, and untangling it reveals something strange about how time actually works. A writer named Claudia Hammond called it the holiday paradox. The truth is you have two different senses of time, one while you're living a moment, and another when you look back on it. A novel, exciting week feels fast while you're in it, because you're absorbed, present, never once glancing at the clock. But that same week feels long in memory, because it left so much behind to look back on. A dull, routine week is the exact opposite. It drags while you live it, then shrinks to almost nothing in hindsight. So your years can feel fast in retrospect for the very same reason a boring afternoon feels slow while you sit through it. Your brain is measuring two completely different things, and it's the retrospective one, the memories, that becomes the story of your life. But proportion and memory are both about looking back. There's a third idea that says time speeds up in the present too, moment to moment, because of what's physically happening inside your head. Adrian Bejan, an engineer at Duke University, argues that as you age, the neural networks in your brain grow larger and more tangled, so signals travel slower and you capture fewer mental snapshots per second. Think of your life like a flip book. A child's brain flips through hundreds of pages every real minute, so that minute feels rich and long. An older brain flips through far fewer. Same minute on the clock, but fewer frames captured inside it. And when there are fewer frames, the film runs out faster. You literally perceive fewer nows as you age. For over a century, these were the answers: proportion, memory, processing speed. Good ideas, but all of them were in a sense indirect. Nobody had actually watched it happen inside a living brain. Until 2025. A team at the Cambridge Center for Aging and Neuroscience took brain scans from 577 people, ranging from 18 to 88 years old. They put each person in an fMRI scanner and had them all watch the exact same thing: an 8-minute suspense clip from an old Hitchcock episode, chosen specifically because it grips almost everyone's brain the same way. Then they used a machine learning tool to track something clever: how often each person's brain shifted from one stable pattern of activity to a new one. Every time your brain moves to a new state, it's essentially marking a moment. Something happened here, a new event, a new now. And the results were startling. The older the person, the fewer of these shifts their brain made. Older brains lingered longer in each state and switched between them less often. Watching the exact same 8 minutes, an older person's brain carved it into fewer distinct moments than a younger person's did. Read that again. Given the identical slice of reality, an older brain simply records fewer events inside it. And if your brain logs fewer moments in an hour, that hour, looking back, feels like less happened, which means it feels shorter, it feels faster. This connects to something Aristotle guessed at over 2,000 years ago: that we feel time through the number of changes we notice. Fewer noticed changes, faster feeling time. Modern neuroscience just watched it happen, in 577 brains, in real time. And here's where it turns a little unsettling. Put all of this together and you reach a strange conclusion. A routine life is, subjectively, a short life. Two people can live the exact same number of calendar years, but the one who spent them in comfortable repetition, same job, same drive, same weekends, will look back and feel like it flew by in an instant because their brain compressed thousands of near-identical days into a smudge. The one who filled their years with new places, new skills, new people, hard and unfamiliar things, will look back and feel like they lived far longer because their brain kept all of it. The years you don't remember are the years that, in every way that matters to you, didn't happen. Time isn't being stolen from you by the clock, it's being quietly erased by routine. And like most things your brain does automatically, you never notice it happening. So can you fight it? Actually, yes. And this is the part that should change how you plan your week. You can't slow the clock, but you can flood your brain with the one thing that makes time expand in memory: novelty. Every researcher who studies this arrives at the same practical answer. Do new things. Take a different route. Learn a skill that makes you clumsy again. Travel somewhere unfamiliar. Meet people outside your usual circle. Break the loop your brain has learned to compress. It works because novelty forces your brain back into high-definition recording. It has to pay attention again, because it doesn't know what's coming. A single weekend in a place you've never been will leave more memory behind than 2 months of your normal routine. And when you look back, that richly recorded stretch will feel long, full, and slow, the way whole years used to feel when you were young and everything was new. We spend our whole lives trying to get more time, more hours in the day, more years at the end. But time was never really measured in hours. It's measured in moments you actually noticed. And by that measure, a child chasing fireflies through one endless August is richer than an adult who let a decade slip by on autopilot. The endless summers of your childhood weren't longer than your years are now. They just held more of you. Your brain was awake for all of it, recording everything, because everything was new. Somewhere along the way, life became familiar, and your brain quietly stopped writing so much of it down. You can't go back to being 5, but you can still do the one thing that made those years feel infinite. You can refuse to let the days blur together, because in the end you won't remember the years you spent going through the motions. You'll only remember the moments you were truly there for. And how much of your one life you actually get to keep depends entirely on how many of those you're willing to go and make.